Phone.
We're rolling.
You always mess up my microphone.
It's not my problem.
I think you do it on purpose.
Check, check, check. Okay.
Check. See, mine ain't. My microphone ain't. Microphone
thing.
check. What
Press the
two,
button.
What is
Press
this?
the record button.
The 5-foot assassin. They would call it the business.
Let's go. Hit the button.
They said it couldn't be done. They said it wouldn't last. White man, black man. America F1. America F1 coming to you straight from San Francisco, California. Sherman Tillman, Michael Lawler. America F1.
Buonasera.
Ciao, ciao, bello.
Ciao, ciao, bella. We're here to do the Monza GP.
Let's not do the
Oh,
accent.
don't do the accent.
We're gonna talk about pasta now.
We're gonna talk about pizza and pasta, eh?
No.
No.
Anyways, I was supposed to be with Sherman in Milan, Italy, to go to the Monza Grand Prix, but unfortunately, I had to work 3 doubles in a row. Thank you very much.
Too bad. I got to go to Monza. I'm so happy and elated. I've been quite a few races, Mike.
Lucky.
And this race had a lot of things to talk about as far as the experience
On this experience.
of Monza.
Okay,
And I got a lot of things to
this
really
train
complain
issue
about.
you're talking about.
Really complain.
How far is the train from the actual track?
Okay, so we stayed in Milan.
Well, yeah, it's right next to Monza, basically.
So the train getting there is no big deal. Of course, one train, you have to go Lecco. You have to take the Lecco train.
And you said it was 40 minutes?
So it was shorter than that. It was,
Okay.
it was, 20, 30. It wasn't that long. I'd say probably 35 minutes.
Was there a lot of stops it stops at?
Yeah, it stops at a couple stops. But when you get there, you take Lecco. You can get off at Monza. There's like 3 stops you can get off at. All right, and we got off at the second stop. Okay, then you walk about probably a mile and a half, maybe. 20, 22 minutes, 20, 25 minutes.
See, when we go next year, we're going to rent a car and we can just drive up to that bitch.
So, and then...
What was the traffic like?
So, the traffic's not bad.
Okay.
Car traffic. But, it's not... I'm not going to say Italians are the greatest drivers. I'm not going to say they're the worst drivers.
Well, the worst drivers in the world are Americans.
I'm going to... No, that's not true.
Really?
That's not true. Not at all.
Anyways.
Anyway, moving on. So, we get there. It was easy to get there. All right? No problems. We walked. Now, it's not getting there. It's
Getting back.
It's getting back. Oh, my Lord. So,
Hey, how far could we have stayed in Monza actually at a hotel?
you can stay in Monza. Yeah, Monza's a big town.
Is it?
Oh, yeah. Monza's a big town.
Well, then, would you want to stay there next time or Milan?
I like staying in Milan. There's a lot of things to see in Milan.
Oh, okay. So it's a big city.
Oh, Milan's a big city.
Okay.
Milan's awesome. Now, we went to Rome, we went to Florence, went to Lake Como, and if I had the choice of picking out of all those cities where I would live in Milan.
Really?
Milan is nice.
Well, yeah, but it's the northernmost city. It's the most European city in Italy.
It's very nice, but it's hot.
It's hot. Well, it was in the middle of the summer. In the wintertime, it snows there.
That's what I hear. I like Milan. I like all the cities. I like the food. I like everybody. The people. Everything was great, except the train.
The train.
Has some problems.
They need to update their.
Okay. All right. Here we go. I'm going in.
Going all.
I'm going in, baby. On qualifying day, the trains on the way back only come once an hour. There's 120,000 or so people at the damn race, but the train only runs 1 an hour. Does that make sense to you?
Well, maybe they might want to. Has this been an issue before?
Does it make sense?
No, well, of course.
Of course not.
We're not in charge of the trains.
Okay, listen.
Well, now you know.
Listen. So the train comes back. We're at our stop. There's too many people on the train, so we can't get on. So it leaves. So that means we got to wait another hour.
Now Sherman, you know the train thing now. So next year when we go, We know
I'm not
to
going.
get a car.
I'm not going.
To get a car. I got my passport. We're going.
So then the next train comes, and the conductor sticks his head out the window and says, "You can't get on. No, we're not stopping."
He didn't talk like that. He spoke.
Well, he said,
he spoke
okay,
Italian.
he said like this. He said in Italian, but he basically said no.
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 No means no.
No means no. And that means,
I said no.
That means you're not getting on. So that's 2 hours we're waiting at. And so there's only one more train.
That's it, the last train?
And that's the last train of the night. Okay, it's not late.
You would have had to walk back to Milan.
It's not like it's 1 o'clock in the morning or 12 o'clock at night or 11.
It was like 4 or 5 in the afternoon.
It's like 7, 8 o'clock, man.
God.
And they're already saying that.
And there's no more trains after that?
It's a freaking Saturday. The train should run till like 2, 3 in the morning. But
I think that the plan next time, Sherman, is to stay in Milan for Friday and Saturday, and then on Saturday go to Monza and stay at Monza for the last night.
It's not. You know they've been having Grand Prix in Monza
for since the 50s.
So I think they had their first race there in 1923.
Really?
Yes. Okay. So this isn't their first rodeo. Why don't they have more trains available on qualifying day?
Okay. Anyways,
okay.
Let's move on from the train.
So luckily, somebody heard us talking. Me and my friend Mark, who went. Shout out to Mark Neal, my buddy from junior high.
You went with Mark Neal?
Yeah, I don't know if you remember him.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, remember him from Wash, right? So we've known each other since the 6th grade, so that's a long time. And we had he's a great traveling buddy, very easy to get along with.
Yeah, I remember him.
So anyway, these two nice couple heard us bickering about the train. And they had ordered an Uber 3 hours before.
And it never showed.
Yeah. Now it's finally showing up. They heard our story and they said, "Hey, would you like to split an Uber with us?" Uber cost us $80.
That's it?
But 160 total.
Oh. Sorry, never mind.
Yeah, so I said, yeah, because what else were we going to do? Sleep at the train station?
So you
split.
Ubered back?
Yeah, we Ubered back.
What about your daughter? Were your daughters with you on this thing?
No, it's just Mark and I. So we Ubered back, and that was over. But we stayed there 2.5 hours longer than we needed to because they only had one train an hour.
It sounds like you need to rent a car.
Yeah.
Next year, because we'll go back next year. You laid the foundation for going to Monza every year because that's one of my favorite.
Here's
tracks.
another thing: if you sit in certain sections, there are no seat numbers.
Oh, I met a guy the other day.
Wait, did you hear what I said?
Yeah.
If you sit in certain seat sections, there are no seat numbers.
Okay.
But
so
on
it's
your
just
ticket,
no. Oh, it says a number.
It has the number in the section, but they haven't replaced the numbers on the metal seats. So we went to the Colosseum. You know, the Colosseum is this thing in Rome that was built 2,000 years ago.
I thought it was 3,000.
I don't know. 2,000, 2,500. Who cares? It was built a long damn time ago.
He sent me a picture of him standing in front of it.
And guess what? They had seat numbers, Mike. Mike, they had seat numbers 2,000 years ago on their seats.
Okay, I don't want to interject right now.
So in a modern facility, you don't have seat numbers.
Okay, there's no seat numbers. Big deal.
I met a guy. How do I know where I sit?
That's your problem.
So I had to figure out where we sat, and then guess what happens?
What?
Some other guy says, "Well, I'm sitting in a seat," and I said, "No, because I have 51, you have 49. So that means you have to be sitting to the right of me, not to the left of me."
This story is 10 seconds of my life I'm never going to get back. Anyways, I met a guy from Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium, so we have a place to stay if we want to go to Spa next year.
I think we should go to Spa.
Spa is sort of like it's like 40 miles away from the nearest city. So, but we could stay in Spa.
But most of the tracks are like that.
No, they're not.
A lot of them are.
No, Silverstone's not that far from London. You can take a train there. Amsterdam is 20 minutes.
I heard
Milan's
Silverstone, which I want to go to next year, is quite far from London.
No, that's an hour on the train.
I don't mind. We took 3-hour train rides. I'm good with.
You're on vacay. There's no, there's no clock.
Yeah, I always like to stay in the biggest city, and then I get to see that city, and then I'll just hub from there. I'm good with that.
But I got my passport renewed. It took 5 months, but I got it done.
So what was why couldn't you get it renewed? Okay.
Okay, these idiots who run the passport service First of all, you can't get it on your phone. You can't go online and do everything online. You have to go. I had to go. They sent me back the letter twice. I filled out 2 applications.
Yeah.
They told me the first one I sent was wrong, which had turned out to be right. Then they said I had to fill out this one. I sent it back in, and then they said it was wrong, but I didn't go down to the bottom and read in the fine print that said you have to go in person to get your passport redone. So I called the freaking passport office the other day, and they're like, oh, no, you can't come here. You have to go to the post office.
Yes.
And I'm like, what the? It doesn't say anywhere in this that I got to go to the post office. Then she's like, you have to go to the post office online thing and make an appointment. So I get to the online thing, and it says right there, you have to apply and send it in.
Right.
And then I called him back, and I'm like, whoa, this says I have to make an appointment, but it won't let me make an appointment. I didn't notice when the appointment thing, you had to scroll down.
Oh, yes.
And so I was like on the phone for a
scroll down. There's always a scroll down.
No, I didn't think there was because it was, anyways. So I finally get my appointment 2 months ahead of when I was supposed. It was like it was 2 months. They were completely booked for an entire 2 months.
Yes, that's what happens.
The guy's like,
but there are other post offices in other cities.
No. I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet.
Get it done.
So they're like, told me, just go down there. They might be able to do it on the spot. So I go down there, and I'm like whining like a little bitch. Like, oh my God, I'm so confused. I don't know how to do this. And the lady's like, come here. Do you have the paperwork? I put the paperwork down. She stamped it. It cost $250 to get my passport done. What'd you just do?
I'm booing how much it costs.
Anyways, she asked me, she's like, do you want it in 3 to 6 months or do you want it in 6 to 7 weeks? If it's
Then
6
you have
to
to
7,
pay more money.
it's $150. I'm like, I don't care if it's $1,000. Just give me my effing passport.
Yeah.
So I got my passport done, $257 in American money. It's totally insane. It was a renewal. I already had a passport. Hit the button again. Thank you. Okay, and moving on.
I can't get those 10 minutes of my life back.
Okay, moving on.
Let's talk about the race. Supermax, 10 in a row, baby!
Guess who won?
Yes. And so we were trying to predict when we were sitting there.
How long it was going to take for him to go?
How long was it going to take?
Was it 10 laps?
It was 15 laps.
15 laps.
So we're trying to...
Remember, he just took his time. He was just waiting for the Ferrari tires to wear off.
That's all he was waiting for.
He had the engine turned down. He was just putting along.
No, because he was saying, they're starting to slide. And
yeah, because he got him coming out of the first chicane, which I was shocked. I was expecting him to get him on the straightaway. Because if you do it right, you hit him at the Parabolica and you open that DRS and
bye.
That's how Checo passed everybody.
Yeah, well, he did cut the chicane.
Ooh.
And there was no penalty.
Big time rumors.
What's that?
Checo's going to be out of the Red Bull next year and Ricciardo's going to be back in. Big time rumors.
I don't know. So that's 10
and
wins in a row. Wait,
another big time rumor.
Let me say this.
Vettel's going to be on the Audi team next year. So.
10 wins in a row for Max and 15 in a row for Red Bull. Now, the only thing I'm going to say about this is, remember when Martin Brundle, your buddy that you love so much,
my favorite person,
was lambasting Mercedes about, we need to see some racing up at the front when Hamilton was winning all those championships.
Of course.
And everybody in the F1 paddock was like, well, we need to see more competition. We need to see... And now they've learned from their mistakes because the ratings are going down. People are stopping watching.
Well, they should just...
Because they're tired of Max winning everything. But all they are doing is saying, we're looking at history. It's great to watch. And now they're all rooting for Max to do it.
Yeah, but these are people who aren't Formula One fans. Who cares if someone, like, I watched 3 races and now I'm not going to watch the races anymore? You know, it's like, they're not real F1 fans. And everyone knows that it's a constructors series. And this happens from time to time where their mousetrap is better than the next person's mousetrap. Ferrari.
Yeah, well, it was Red Bull, and then it was Mercedes, and now it's Red Bull again. Where's McLaren? Where's Aston Martin? Where is Ferrari? I had so much fun with the Tifosi. Woo! It was fun, man. I had my Ferrari.
They came in. They got on the podium.
Here's a little Monza map, and I have a nice.
Hey, were they freaking out when Carlos Sainz and Leclerc were fighting at the end?
No, at first everybody was really excited because they're letting them fight, but then when they almost ran into
almost-
each other, they didn't like that.
They didn't like.
Oh, mamma mia! What the hell are you doing? You know, but I thought
Okay, let's move on to the
10-1.
10-1.
All right. Well, we do this thing on our show where we do 10-1. We talk about what each racer. So we mention their names because on other shows you could go basically the whole show and not hear everybody mentioned. So coming in 10th place, Valtteri Bottas for the first.
Oh, that's a
First
W for
point.
that team.
In a long time.
That's a W for that team because that team's not very good. So.
They had a great livery though.
Oh yeah, they put the Italian
Beautiful.
flag on.
Oh man. Oh, and we'll put it right here. So you can see it.
Formula One thing. Paint the goddamn cars. All these cars being blacked out because of weight savings.
Yeah.
And you can't have a matte finish. You have to have a shiny finish.
Yeah.
The Ferrari in matte red looks stupid. Now, come on. I was watching like the 2017 or the 2018 one of the races with Vettel, and the car was shiny red, and it pops out of the TV. Come on, get on that.
I have to agree. Everybody should have a livery color.
Oh, that yeah.
Everybody should be bright and shiny, and it makes a good television.
Yeah.
It makes a good show. And when they're, they have the matte finish, it doesn't sparkle.
Well, you shouldn't be allowed to have a black car because you don't see them on the track that well. So.
I agree, Mike.
So let's move on. Who's number 10? Oh, it was Bottas. Who's number 9?
Number 9, Fernando Alonso.
That was pretty good for that car. They're not very good on the low downforce tracks. That car has too much drag to it. So,
but he said this is where they should have finished. That's what Fernando was
Yeah.
saying. He was like, yeah, this is about right. And in the 8th spot, which was very tricky because he got in a little accident with his teammate Lando Calrissian Norris.
oh, did him and
Him and Pastrami.
Pastrami? Did they hit each other?
Yeah, they had a little contact.
Yeah, that's a
A
bad day
little
at Black Rock.
contact.
You're not supposed to hit your teammate. First rule.
Pastrami also hit, Lewis and him got in a little.
Okay, well, it's race, little rubbins, little racing, whatever. It's Formula One.
What do you think about Norris, though?
Where'd he come?
He looked pretty. He came in 8th, but he was for most of the race. He was in there about 7-6. He was really he was moving.
Maybe Norris ends up at Red Bull. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I think Ricciardo will be back in Red Bull next year.
I think Ricciardo's done.
Nah.
He has a broken arm.
Dude, they put him in the Red Bull for a test the day after the Silverstone Grand Prix. He would have been P2.
I don't know.
Next.
Albon 7th. Wow. That car was fast.
It didn't do well. It wasn't doing well at the beginning of the race. They just
Tires kind of went off as usual.
yeah,
Williams. And I think they have the new livery coming up for Singapore. It's about time.
were they gonna put the British flag back on?
No, they can put the
Gulf?
Golf
Ooh.
livery is going to be on there.
Well, they need Golf to give them more money, and they'll be the Golf car all the time.
It should be.
But they got to give them money. They're not giving them enough money to do it. So
Spin the buck, man. Spin the buck. Albon, that was a great race from him because for a while he had gotten passed by Hamilton, he got passed by Norris, and he had gotten passed by Pastrami.
Mm-hmm.
And he was, behind them. And because of the little tit-a-tat that was going on, he passed him up, and he had a good race.
okay, who's next?
Excuse me?
Who's next?
Well, you can see it.
I can't.
Right, where you need glasses? Hamilton, 6th place.
Oh,
Good race by Hamilton. Started out in 10th.
yeah, he drove a good race.
Drove a good race. It was strange. He had the hards on in the beginning, and he went to the mediums, and then he really picked up the pace on the mediums when everyone's tires start to feel off. He had a good race.
And Russell was ahead of him.
Yeah, well, Russell started ahead of him.
Oh yeah, Hamilton and Russell both signed 2-year extensions. So
I told you that was going to
24,
happen.
25.
I told you that was going to happen.
All right.
I was right, as usual.
No, you weren't.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
never
Not
right.
only-
What are you talking
not
about?
only-
It was
not
a
only-
guess.
No, it wasn't a guess. But apparently it's $150 million for 2 years.
Really? He's gonna make $75 million?
A year.
They can afford it. They're Mercedes.
I can afford it. 5th place, George Russell. He pretty much had an uneventful race.
He was kind of had nobody in front of him and nobody in back.
It was
of him.
one of those races where
Just chugging along.
Yeah, you're by yourself alone. There's just like you said, there's no one in front. There's no one in back. There's no one really to fight.
Just turn the engine down and save the tires.
Yeah,
and-
he had a fight with Perez for a couple laps.
But
Perez,
nah, that was.
maybe
the coup de grace was going to happen no matter what. So.
He was going to pass him no matter what. And actually, he was just by himself. It must have been a lonely time for him.
So Leclerc came in fourth. That was the only battle of the day that was...
Him and Sainz were battling.
At the end, because at one point they let Leclerc go by Sainz to see if he could catch the Red Bulls.
It only happened he was only by him...
At 10 laps or something?
No, man. He was only by him, I'd say, a half a second. He went by because he came out of the pit.
No, Sainz, but they let him go by. The team, it was team orders.
Sainz had pitted, and then Leclerc kind of was almost passing him, and then there was this chicane where Sainz was here, Leclerc came around and went by and got through, and then he kind of went deep into the corner, and then Sainz had a better exit and passed him right back up. It was Sainz's race, man. He was driving great. He made one mistake that whole race. And that's exactly, as soon as he made that mistake, that's when your boy, Super Max, passed him up.
Super Max.
Yeah, he did it. Yeah,
okay, and then there's Sainz.
Then Perez had Sainz. I thought he did a great race. I thought.
Well, he started on the pole, got lucky.
He did some great blocking. I mean, he had some good racecraft going.
He did one at the beginning where Verstappen came on the radio and said that was a bit naughty.
Yeah. Well, he had to back out, and everyone's online is comparing how Max backs out against everybody else but Lewis.
Of course,
right? And so they were showing, why he backs out.
Because remember, that's the same corner he drove over Lewis's
head. He drove over
head.
Lewis's head last time. But I think it's a different dynamic. Like he's way ahead in points.
He knew not to. He knew that there was no reason to do what he did to Lewis because Lewis was like, he didn't want Lewis ahead of him because he wasn't going to get back by him.
Exactly.
He knew that okay, whatever, never mind. I'll just wait a lap or two and then bada bing.
Yeah, but in that circumstance, if he would have let Lewis get by, he was never going to pass him again.
And how far was Verstappen ahead at the end? Like 20 seconds ago?
No, not at all. I think he was only ahead by like 6 to 8 seconds.
Ahead of Perez?
Yeah, that wasn't that bad. And Perez had a good race.
Yeah, but he keeps
He
starting
had a good race.
He keeps qualifying for crap. That's why they're going to put Ricciardo back in the car next year.
I think
Unless they get Lando, that's the only other person I see going in there.
Here's the only thing with that. I don't think they want Max to have competition.
There's no competition. Ricciardo, first of all.
I'm just saying, if you put Lando in the car, there's going to be competition.
They build the car for Max. They don't build the car for Ricciardo's driving style. They have two different driving styles.
I don't think Ricciardo will go back there.
I think he will.
No, I don't.
No, it's the big rumors are. It's like the two big rumors that are in the news today is Vettel going to Audi and Ricciardo going to Red Bull next year.
Well, Vettel should go to Audi. And if Vettel goes to Audi and Carlos Sainz goes to Audi like it's being reported, I think that would be a good
Carlos
matchup.
Sainz ain't going to. I don't think he's going to go to Audi. I think he's going to stay at Ferrari. Because remember,
I would go.
It's not going to be an Audi team till 2026.
Yeah. Well, you can.
Why go now? You should go.
You're not going now. You're going in 26.
Yeah, it's like stay at Ferrari.
Yeah, he's going to stay at Ferrari now.
Because Ferrari might figure out the DRS trick, and then they'll be right up there with Red Bull.
And like I always say, and I've always said it, show after show after show, put some respect on Carlos Sainz's name. The guy can drive. The guy's a good driver. He's a good person.
He's a B driver at best.
He's better than a B driver. Did you see the man? Did you watch this race? You watched 30 minutes, didn't you?
Okay.
You didn't watch the whole
I watched the
thing.
whole race.
I was there. He did some great blocking.
I watched a part of it. I watched the first bit in the morning.
He was under pressure from basically lap 1.
I watched the first bit in the morning at home. Then I watched like 20 laps at lunch. And then I watched the rest of it at my bar.
Carlos Sainz is the man. I like Carlos
All
Sainz.
right, whatever.
Okay?
Moving on. Who won the race?
Oh, come on, man.
Okay.
Who do you think won?
What's the next race in the?
Hey.
What?
Once he won, he was gone.
Yeah.
I mean, once he passed, it was.
It was like he took
2 laps and
he got a lead and then he turned the engine down and
he
just
would
chilled.
go by the parabolic like this, zoom, and then it'd be like 1,001, 1,002, 1,003, and like 6-7 seconds later, then Perez would come by. And then right after Perez would be like Sainz and Leclerc, like zoom, zoom. And then it'd be a little time.
Yeah.
And then Russell come by himself. I mean, nobody was around him. And then it would be Hamilton, Norris, and Pastrami. They were for, I'd say, 20 laps. It was Norris, Pastrami. How is it not Pastrami?
No, it's Piastri.
Piastri. Shit. Here we go. Piastri and Hamilton. For 20 laps, there would be them three right in a row. And then with Albon kind of a little bit behind them. I mean, those four were like neck and neck.
Okay, the other thing
Sherman
Sherman needs to know is none of these people are bringing any more updates to these cars this year. Everyone is working full blast on their next year's car, because everyone knows what the Red Bull are doing now with the DRS, because they found out in
What are they doing,
Monaco.
Mike? What are they doing?
There's something at the back of that car. The car goes back like this when everyone's car goes back like this. So they're all...
We got to see it when it was on the crane.
Yeah, it's like...
when it's on the crane, everybody's like, ching, ching, ching.
They're like, 1,000 photos. And they're all figuring out the DRS trick that they're doing. I mean, I don't know if it's legal or illegal. The FIA keeps letting them do it, so...
I probably would say it's illegal.
Well,
because if it was legal, everybody else would have it.
Well, and the other thing is everyone says that the floor of the Red Bull moves.
Well, I also find it strange. If you look at the back of Max's car and you look at the back of Perez's car, there's some slight differences.
No,
there is. No. Listen to me. Get the pictures. I've seen the pictures.
What do you mean there's a difference?
There are some slight differences between the cars, man.
I don't think so.
Well, you don't have to think.
Just
look at the picture. I'm talking about facts. Facts, okay? I'm talking about facts.
Sure. Yeah,
I'm talking about checking receipts, boy.
Dr. Tillman over here. Dr.
I'm talking
Tillman
about checking
over here.
some receipts.
Okay, what's the next race? What's the next?
Wait, don't hold.
What?
Listen.
Listen to what?
Don't try to run this ahead.
What?
I'm on a roll.
Wait, what's up? What's going? You're on a roll.
I'm on a roll here.
Is that what's going on? Sherman's on a roll.
All right. So who's your driver? Who's your driver of the day? The driver of the day is who? It has to be Carlos Sainz.
I'd give it to Bottas.
It has to be Carlos Sainz.
Why? He
has
started
to be.
first. He finished third.
It has to be Carlos Sainz.
No, I think it's Bottas, because putting that like a last place car 10th is like that's a good day.
I'm giving it to Carlos Sainz.
Fine, give it to Carlos Sainz.
Because of the pressure that Max put him under. We all know that the Red Bull's faster than a Ferrari. And he held the man back for 15 laps, and he did a damn good job.
Okay, what's this?
And for him to put it on qualifying ahead of Max was actually awesome.
What's the next thing?
So, dog of the day.
Oh, what'd the Haas do?
Dog of the day for the drivers. I'm going to give it to Piastri, only because even though he had the fastest lap for the race.
Who did?
Piastri had the fastest
Really?
lap. Uh-huh. But I'm giving him the dog of the day because he's a rookie and he had a tangle. He tangled with his teammate and he bumped him, and then
he hit somebody else.
Well, Hamilton hit him because Hamilton turned in a little bit early, but he was ahead of him. You're going into the turn. You're not. He's on medium tires. You're on hards. You're not going to be able to hold him by. Just let the man go. What are you fighting him for? That's a rookie mistake. What are you fighting him for? Just move over, let him go, and then move on with your race.
Like I said, it's a rookie mistake. He's going to make those mistakes.
He would have finished probably 7th if it wasn't for that mistake. But he finishes out of the points. And
did he?
No points, yeah. So he has to,
But he gets that point for the fastest lap of the day.
But you live and you learn, and what I like about him, and I'm starting to like Oscar, and I'll tell you why. He doesn't complain, man. He's one of the few guys that when something happens, he's very calm about it. And he just goes,
you want your driver complaining about everything.
No, he doesn't, though. He just, when they talked about what happened with the accident, he goes, well, the guy came over and apologized. So that's it. It's over.
Okay.
Hey, wait. What's that about?
You want your driver complaining. What are you talking about?
You don't want him to complain.
Hell
the
yeah.
fans don't want to hear you complain
I
all
don't
the
care
time.
about the stupid fans. The last thing in the world is you want some passive-aggressive driver. You want someone in there whining about everything all the time. What was wrong? Okay, Singapore.
Wait.
What?
Wait.
Wait for what?
The dog team of the day.
I thought you said it was Haas.
But you didn't say anything about it.
I thought that was what we were talking about.
We were talking about Piastri. Last time I checked, he was on McLaren.
All right, whatever.
What do you mean, whatever?
What did the Haas
What do you
team
mean, whatever?
What did the Haas team do?
Absolutely nothing. That's why they're the dog of the day. I mean, when is this car going to improve? It hasn't improved all year.
They haven't brought any updates to that car.
Why?
They're working on next year's car.
But all year the car hasn't improved.
They don't have any money.
All right, here it is. So if you don't have the money, sell the damn team to Andretti. They have money. They'll put the money in. They have backing. They have Cadillac. They have people that want to be in F1.
Well, there's going to be...
If you're in F1 just to show your shiny car and lose money and not put money into it, then get the hell out of it.
Well, no, there's going to be...
Get the hell out.
There's going to be 2 new teams in 2025. There'll be the Andretti team, and there might be...
Well, they're still having...
And there's somebody else, I can't remember right off the top of my head, a Chinese-backed company.
Well, they still haven't given the go to Andretti, though. They haven't said thumbs up.
Yeah, they're going to give it.
I know, but I'm just telling you, they still haven't given
It's going to happen. Okay. Anyway, so let's go.
Haas, I'm giving them the dog of the day because Hulkenberg and the Magnussen, they're both, out of the points. And each race, Hulkenberg qualifies great. And each race, he just gets eaten up because his tires wear off. And they haven't found out the solution, and they haven't fixed it. And it's starting to annoy me, okay? You're in F1. You have to keep moving forward. You have to keep bringing new technologies and updates to your car. Otherwise, why are you there?
They have no money.
So then find sponsors or get out.
Anyways.
What? Stop saying anyways. Well, that's not really technical. That's not real anyways. Where's the tech? Let me hear something.
What did I just say?
Let me hear something.
They have no money. They're not bringing anything to that car. They have no money.
So then why are they in F1?
What are
they F1 for then?
They're doing their thing.
What?
They spent all their money.
On what? Tell me on what?
They spent all their money on their car already.
First of all, your library's trash. No one's buying the merchandise. You go by the Haas merchandise stand.
Nobody.
There's nobody there. Why isn't there nobody there? Because it's black, it's red, and it's white. It's unimaginative. Bring some. Go and get you a real designer and bring some colors to that car.
Yeah, they need
at least sell some damn merchandise. I mean, come on.
I know.
All right, I ran it on there. I'm
okay, we're going to the.
I'm off the rent now.
The what do they call this?
Singapore.
A destination race.
Singapore night race.
They have the $1 billion hotel with the swimming pool on the top.
It's really hot.
I ain't going there. That's why they do it at night. They can't do it in the daytime.
It's sweltering.
I ain't going to that race. It's a long ways away.
It's a long ways away. I think eventually I'd like to go, but it's way down the list.
Yeah.
It's just too hot. It's just too hot and muggy.
It's like Africa hot.
Yeah, and I don't know. You can't visit places in the daytime, so you're only going out at night.
Yeah, but you can play golf at night then.
And at night it's freaking 99% humidity.
Ooh, screw that.
So I don't know.
Okay. What's the last thing we need to talk about?
Well, I'm upset that the whole line, when you talk to or listen to F1 now, everyone's really enamored with Max and winning 10, and they're saying how great it is and how it's good for the sport, and everybody, has to have their Michael Jordan, and they're trying to make comparisons. But when Lewis was doing all this stuff, all they did is complain about it.
Well, because he's black. That's why. Come on now.
Expand on that, Mike.
Well, remember, Lewis was the first black driver in Formula One for about 3 seconds, and then everyone realized how good he was, and they're like, oh, we got to beat the black guy too? Oh, no. And then he gets the best car for like 4 or 5 years, and white people don't like that shit.
Why? Why, Mike?
Because they don't like black people.
Do you really think that?
I do think that.
Why?
I have no idea. You're supposed to salute excellence, and that's what that dude is. And there's people out there, especially in the press, who don't like a black driver. Period. They don't want an Asian driver in there. They want a Nazi, blue-eyed, brown-haired white boy. That's what they want. So, because that's what 70-80% of the audience is white people, right? Mm-hmm. And then if you go to the other countries like Asia, where there's billions upon billions of F1 fans, but there's no Indian driver. The couple times we've had Indian drivers, they were busts. Then we have the first Chinese driver right now, Zhang, who's probably not going to be in that car next year or the year after. They need, and like another thing is a woman driver. How come there's no women drivers in these series?
Because I don't think they're good enough.
Nope, that has nothing to do with it. There's because I stopped driving for a while and I went back up to the track. I think in 2012, and all the little girls were beating the boys, and the boys they did not like getting their ass kicked by a girl. But I kept telling them, I'm like, how often do you come up and practice? Like, just every time I come here, this is all. And those little girls are up at the track every day driving, so they're like their experience level was like, this much bigger. And I just kept telling them, like, go out when you see them go out and practice, go behind them and follow them around and see what they're doing. You'll figure it out. So, but like the women drivers they have right now. Danica Patrick but she was like a star, but she wasn't a great driver.
Yeah, I think.
And now they have Haley Deegan in NASCAR, but she's sort of like keeps crashing and doesn't seem to have that because remember when you get to those levels, when you get to the feeder series, like in NASCAR, you start off in the ARCA series, then you go to the trucks, and then you go to the Xfinity series, and in Formula One, you start off in karts, then you go to Formula Ford, which I don't even know if they have anymore. Then you go to GP, then you go to F3, and then F2, and every time you make another step, it's like going from junior high school to college, from college to the pros, and it's not like baby steps, it's like huge steps. And nowadays we have only rich kids driving these cars. There's no avenue for somebody like a Lewis Hamilton, or even Ocon doesn't come from any kind of big money, but his family scrimped and saved and got him into and he was good. So. And same thing with Jimmy Johnson, this 5-time NASCAR or 7-time NASCAR champion. He comes from, when I mean nothing, he comes from a trailer in San Diego, California. So everybody there needs to be the driver pool to get everyone in there. And somebody like Lewis Hamilton needs to have an academy where he's sponsoring, young drivers, because he makes, what did you say, he's making $75 million a year in his drivers? And then he's going to make another $50 million a year in endorsements. I think wearing a watch, he gets $10 million a year or something like that. So, and all his clothes are by fashion designers who probably pay him to wear all his clothes. But yeah, we need the feeder series needs to not cost so much goddamn money. I mean, if one of your kids decided they wanted to go and they were pretty good, we took them to the track and they were pretty good, and they won out here, then they have to go to Italy when they're 15 or 16 years old, and it's like a professional karting series. That's $150,000 for 3 months.
Wow.
So
for 3 months.
For 3 months.
How much?
And then they got to live there. They can't come home. They got to live in Italy.
Well, there's nothing they can do here in America.
Nope.
Huh.
Unless they're going to go NASCAR racing or IndyCar racing, then they go. You can do the West Series, which is the NASCAR series, or you can go do sprint cars. That's the avenue to get into IndyCar and NASCAR. But if you want to go Formula One racing, you got to go to Italy. You got to win, because remember, you're going to get out of.
You can go to England too, right?
No, England is later. England is when you go to a single seat car.
Okay.
I don't know if they still do Formula Ford, but they used to. And Formula Ford was sort of like a go-kart with no wings on it, but it was like a single-seat car. And then you go to F3, or you go to Formula Renault, or you go to Formula Nippon in Japan. But you have to go through F3, F2, the F1, and there's only 20 seats right now, and only one of them is any good right now. So,
yeah.
But anyways, that's the state of driving right now. You got to have a bank account or someone sponsoring you.
And typically we banter back and forth, but I let you go on about that because I think it's important that a lot of these things that people talk about come from white people. And it doesn't come from me as a black person saying these things, because when it comes from me, all people go is, oh, you're just complaining.
You're just complaining, you're whining.
You're whining and da-da-da and da-da-da. But when it comes from another Caucasian person, it adds a little credibility to it, but it also adds a perspective. And I always bring it back to that great sociological experiment where they ask a class full of white people, would they ever trade their place with a black person?
Hell no.
And they all, and they're saying like a rich black person.
Yeah,
and they all say no.
Chris Rock did that bit. He's like,
and they all
he's like,
say
you
no.
don't want to be me. I'm rich. You know,
Yeah.
It was like,
And they all say no. And that goes to show you that people know what happens and what goes on in society, and they know the unfairness that takes place in it, but yet they obviously don't do anything about it because it doesn't happen to them.
Yeah.
So it's okay long as it doesn't happen to them. And when they say, do you want to take the place of that person, they all go no, because they know what happens.
Well, I saw a documentary a while back about the USF football team.
USF?
USF had a football team in the 1950s.
Okay.
And they needed $100,000 to keep the program going, and they had to get a bowl game to keep the program going. And they had 3 African-American football players on that team. Mm-hmm. And they actually did it. They won enough games to go to the Orange Bowl. But at the time, the people in the Orange Bowl were in the ding-da-da-ding-ding South.
Yeah.
You hear the banjos playing. Yeah. And they said, yeah, you can do it, but you have to leave your black players at the house. And the whole team were like, they're our best player. We ain't leaving them at the house.
Right.
So they didn't go.
Okay.
So they didn't go. So that's why when I saw this, I'm like, there's no football team at USF. It's baseball, basketball. That's it. So because of that the whole every white person on that team was like, no, we're not going. If they're not going, we're not going. Screw you. So they didn't go. So they lost their football program. Those 3 African-American men one of them used to be the principal at Franklin, around the corner from your house. That was the junior high school right there, right? And I remember I was playing baseball when we were kids, and other kids on our team would talk about what a Nazi he was. He's on us all the time because he knew he knew the struggles that the African-American black people are going to go through. And then because the other guy was a businessman, famous businessman in San Francisco, very successful. And then the other guy was talking about it. He said if it wasn't for good white people, we in the 1960s when we were protesting for civil rights, we could have protested until we were blue in our face because there was not enough black people to move the dial. So if it wasn't, I remember him saying that, and I was like sitting there going, oh, okay. So it was white people have to step up and go like, look, this, and they did. So because if you went back 50 years, you and me wouldn't be sitting here together doing this, no fucking way.
Yeah, no way.
So
don't normally. Actually, this is the first time we've actually brought up race since we've been doing this, and I thought I didn't even want to bring the subject up. The reason why it came up is because it has to be mentioned that why Max is getting all these accolades for being way ahead. And he's finishing the races. He's 20 seconds ahead. He's 30 seconds ahead. And everybody in the audience knows that once he passes whoever's in front of him, through qualifying, if he has
you
a
can
bad
go home
qualifying,
then.
You can go home. Everybody knows it.
The TVs turn off.
Everybody knows it.
Well, when Michael was winning all the races?
Yeah.
A couple times, and he didn't really have that many DNFs. One year, he DNF'd at a race. 90% of the TVs in Germany just turned off. So that's how important he was to Formula One because it makes him money. So the whole point to everything is you just have to trace it back to where the money goes.
Right.
So I think when Hamilton was winning all the races, I think he was getting the same sort of accolades about what a great driver he is, and I think Max is getting basically the same thing, but he seems to be getting. He's winning so much more, and he doesn't have anybody.
He doesn't have a teammate to.
Yeah,
to
like when
him.
Rosberg was on the Mercedes team in 2016. I think in 2014 too. I think Lewis would have won all the races if it wasn't for Rosberg.
Yeah. And I think that's something Lewis brought up. He's like, well, he didn't have the teammates I had. I had Jenson Button. I had Nico Rosberg.
Yeah, and Jenson Button was no joke.
I had Fernando Alonso.
No joke.
Even Valtteri is fast.
Yeah, Valtteri was fast.
And so he's like, he didn't have the quality of teammates I've had. So, of course, my teammates are going to take points away from me. If I had, tomato cans, then I'd have 300 some odd points.
Well, see, this is the problem. This is the thing. Red Bull is, I think they're very good at not having somebody compete against Max, because then they're not going to run into each other. There's not going to be any nonsense. That dude comes in first. You come in second. Once in a while, you get to win a race.
Yeah.
Because
even in the race in the Netherlands, and Perez was ahead. They gave Max, who was behind, they let him pit early.
Yeah. Then because if you can undercut somebody, you have that out lap, or if you do 2 laps because the set of tires, there's 3 laps that they call the GUI, where it's the maximum performance you're going to get out of the tire, so that you come out of the pits and hammer down for the first 2 or 3 laps, and you're going to usually be a couple seconds faster than whoever. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, that's the team. That's why Ricciardo left in 2018 to go to Renault.
Right.
Which, from a financial point of view, him going to Renault was really good. And then he went to McLaren. They paid him the same money. I mean, he made like $150 million doing that.
I don't feel sorry for him.
No. Comes back. And if you saw his house in L.A., you'd be like, okay, he made the right decision.
Well, it was a great experience. I want to say I had a great time in Italy. All the people during the race, all the people that work at the race were very nice, very helpful. I want to say that the experience that the Italians run in Monza was infinitely better than last year, as far as you could bring in water. There was water everywhere. There was enough bathrooms for people to go to. It was extremely hot.
Okay.
And muggy. But they did a good job of taking care of the paying patrons. So I want to give a shout out to everybody that actually put on the race. I want to talk about that the trains could do a better job and getting more trains available to get the people out of there. But you have to expect these things when you go to racing. When you go to a race,
it's not going to be perfect.
Yeah, there's 150,000 people leaving something. It's not going to be perfect. So,
well, next year, maybe stay in Monza, because then you could just walk to the track, right?
Yeah, but I want to go to England.
You want to go to England next time?
Yeah.
All right, we'll work it out.
I want to go to England. Anyway, thank you everyone for listening and for subscribing to our channel. We appreciate it. Tell your friends. We're the underdog. We're the underground. We're not the big BBC station. We're not
down with the red coats.
2 former Formula One racers who have nothing else to do, so they want to do a podcast. We're 2 normal guys who love Formula One and have been watching Formula One for a very long time.
And we're going to take Sherman to the track. I'm going to pick a track day for him this week because I owe him money.
We just want to give our experiences back to you, the fans, because we do our research and we watch all the races and we go to the races, and so
I watch most of the races. I watch all the races. I'm just kidding. But anyways, on that note, we will see you. When's Singapore?
Singapore is not this week. Got a week off. They're next week.
Okay, well we'll see you. We're gonna do a pre-race for it, and then we'll do the race. We'll. I'm predicting.
Shout out to Cameron. Cameron was on the bus with Cameron. He's from Scotland. Him and his mom went to the race. I told Cameron I'd give him a shout out. So Cameron, hey my man, tell your friends, thanks for talking to me on the train. You're a very good kid. Keep watching Formula One, and your mom keep bringing you to the races. And everybody out there, keep on racing.
Say ciao, ciao. Oh.
Hanno fatto qualcosa di magico. Intanto Leclerc si lamenta un po' della vettura, meglio di Max va a proteggere